Hi everybody, Russ and My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon. Made every time new content on. As always, I'd like to thank our channel sponsors. Untuck it. There we go. That's all done. Today's guest. Do you know what? And actually, Joe, thinking, I'll be perfectly honest. I never. Do you know my wife watches your wife's program religiously, and to be honest, I've never taken any, never listened, never watched it. I zone out, you know. And the other day, I sort of was like. I finally put two and two together, and it was like my wife's like, "Why are you going?" I said, "It's Joe Sealey." She's like, well, "No, that's what we explained." She's like, "Fucking." Anyway, so today's guest is Joe Sealey. How are you, Joe? How's things with you, man?
Yeah, I'm really good. I mean, just got back from holiday and back into another lockdown, and done a bit of Christmas shopping today. And
today, you don't today? Oh, you're proper like.
Normally I'm tomorrow, but I've got some friends. I'm doing something tomorrow, and I thought I better go today. I run out of time, so I ran out for a couple of hours, did all my bits. I'm lucky Nicole does. I only have to do Nicole. She does everyone else.
I'm the same.
So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. No, actually, it's a shame because my favourite thing was, I'm quite organised, so I get it all done like, you know, early doors, which is quite fortunate at the moment. But I'm one of these people who likes to just go to like, I live in Hornchurch, so like I don't know, I might drive to like Lakeside or whatever and just sit there, just watching people panic, you know. It's like I can't do it this year because it's like it's not as fun, you know. You've got to be in and out when you do the shopping, and you've got to have your face mask on and stuff like that. But particularly we're in tier 4, so it's even worse at the moment. But
the shop's open now.
Yeah, shops are starting. Non-essentials aren't open, I don't think. So like you couldn't go into the clothes shops or whatever, but obviously, you know, all the supermarkets are queuing around the block and stuff, obviously, because, you know, all the French aren't allowing our lorries in, are they? So there's no brie or camembert. What are we going to do?
It's funny how everyone panics, don't they? As soon as you get one bit of news comes out, and then like everyone's rushing. Like, we did it. We rushed to the supermarket, and actually, it's fine.
You do, and you fill your basket up, and you're thinking, why am I doing this? Because I'm part of the problem, and like, but you still make sure in it, just so you got to have loo roll.
I was saying to Nicole when we was away, like I like the program The Walking Dead, and I was saying, like, if this is a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to be all right. I don't know about you, Nicole, but I will survive.
I can survive. I've watched enough Bear Grylls. I can set a fire with a twig and a bit of twine. Yeah, and I'm exactly the same. It's like I'm quite practical. My wife's not as well, very similar. And I'm all right if the apocalypse dropped in, but we'd have enough loo roll more than anything. That's the bizarre. It's like, you know,
that was mental.
That was crazy, wasn't it? It was crazy. But you know, we'll look back on that eventually, hopefully, with a wry smile. You know, because God forbid everyone's okay and stuff. But you know, apart from that, you've been all right. You and the family.
Yeah. I mean, I had COVID at one point, but I was absolutely like normal. I didn't have a cough. I didn't have a temperature. I had nothing. I couldn't smell. It's only because I had actually a young Man United player staying at my house for the week, and he went into training. He had tested. He rang me up and said, "I've tested positive," just as like the day he left me. And I was like, "All right." He went, "But I feel fine." So I went. Luckily, Nicole was in London, so I went to the NHS testing place at the airport. They did me, and I come back positive. And I was thinking, I feel all right. Like, we've got a gym at the house, and I was like running on the running machine every day. I was like normal. I was lucky.
Weird. I'm still adamant that I had it last Christmas.
A lot of people, I think, had it then. I mean, I've been at it for 3-4 months now, and I still can't smell.
Really?
It comes and goes a bit, but I thought first of all it was my taste, but then I realised it isn't. It wasn't my taste. It's my smell.
Yeah. Well, they're both intertwined with each other, aren't they? Same senses. But I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, we had it like literally like over Christmas last year. Within like 2 days, all of us went like dominoes. So that really sort of ruined the old Boxing Day cold cuts. Got to have a cold cut. Boxing Day,
we do. We love it. Yeah.
Let's be honest. What's a normal Christmas like in the Sealey household?
My wife sometimes. I mean, 2 years ago we had 36 people here, and 3 of them I never knew. It was like she invites everyone. So like somebody ran up and said like my father-in-law has got nowhere to go. We ended up having him. He looked a bit like Lovejoy.
Ian McShane, who knows?
Yeah, like Ian McShane. But no, we had a marquee in the garden, 36 people, and this year I think we had like 12 or 13 come in, and now we've got me and Nicole and the kids. My mum hasn't been able to come because she's down there and she won't do that stuff. Her mum's the same. Everyone's you know, you can't leave tier 4, can you? So, and it's not worth the risk, is it either? So it's a bit strange. One of our daughters works for one of our companies. It's a rail construction company. And she's working Christmas Day. So we had one Christmas dinner last night on the 22nd for her. So we had a Christmas Day yesterday, and we've got another one in 2 days.
Oh, that's horrible, isn't it? Oh, horrible.
So I cooked yesterday, and she's cooking Christmas Day.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. At least you split it. At least you split it.
But my wife loves it. Like, absolutely loves it.
Yeah, I'm one of those really annoying households. Well, our household is, you know, like when someone gets their decorations up a bit too early, and you know, fucking hell, look at them, that's us, that is us. And it's like, because our house is on the top of a hill, we've done well for ourselves on the top of a hill. So if it does flood, we're okay. But you can see it from like the top of the bottom of the road. It's like Blackpool illuminate, like proper like National Lampoon's Christmas.
That's exactly like my house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She loves
good.
it.
It is good. Yeah, I do love it. The snow machine has been a bit of a disappointment. I'll be honest.
I've not got one of them. Have you got one of them?
Yeah, I bought one, and I thought, but it doesn't. But it's like proper. If you had like a really bad Hoover, that it's something, you know, like that noise. It's very noisy, and you've got. I didn't realise, but you got to like hold the button, and so it's like I can't really. So I've had to sort of anyway. Probably not a wise investment, to be honest.
Is it an indoor one or an outdoor one?
An outdoor one.
Oh,
so, you sort of, and I can't find anywhere to. So literally, I just like when the kids come back from school, I just turn it up and just like, you know, do that for like 5 minutes, and everywhere's covered in like a foam, like a bath foam. It's like someone's had a really bad bath. But yeah, apart from that, all good. Anyway, it's as I said, you know, what we try and do is we get loads of ex-players and fans as well coming on the channel. And obviously, for those who don't know Joe, obviously Joe was part of our youth team for how long were you in the youth team, Joe, for the injury?
I was there. I was at West Ham for 5 years.
5 years. 5 years. I was a man and boy, but it was mainly boy, wasn't it? Now, and I know you're a Man United fan as well, aren't you?
Do you know what? I am a Man United fan as well, because I was brought up with my dad.
Of course.
The main part of my childhood, my dad was at Man United. It was at the end at West Ham. Most of his family are West Ham supporters. Yeah, but really, I always describe myself as a football fan. Like, there's certain clubs I don't like. Like, I've got to be honest, I don't like Arsenal. I don't like Chelsea very much. But I can watch anyone. I can go and watch Liverpool. I can go and watch City. I can go and watch United. Watch West Ham a lot. I mean, you know, I'm involved with the DT38 Foundation at West Ham, so
cool,
I'm there a lot, and I just like watching football.
Yeah. There's plenty of it. Around.
Oh, there's loads. It's just funny to watch it with no crowd. I can't get into it.
Do you know what? It's weird. Do you know that there's two, obviously, because we still work at the ground, so it's like we're still playing the music, like all the. So I've been there since since restart, and it was weird to start with. Then it became normal, and then obviously we had one game when Man United turned up, and we had 2,000 turn up, and that was just strange. And then we're back to like no fans, and the whole thing is weird. But the other day I think it was on Super Sunday, and every game was a London game, and I actually went to turn it over to turn off because the crowd noise, but I forgot there was an actual crowd there. It wasn't a crowd noise, and I was like, oh. I quite like it without any noise now. It's really weird. It's so strange.
Well, you can hear everything, can't you? You can hear the coaches, you can hear the arguments, you can hear the bits and pieces that happen on the pitch, and it's unusual, because you know what it reminds me of? It's like reserve team football when we were playing. Like, we'd play in the stadiums then, reserve teams. Yeah, and it was echoey. You know what I mean? It was a bit odd, because it's a bigger, like Upton Park was close, and then there was no one there, and it just echoes.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It is like that. And what's funny is because obviously we still have like a whole bank of journalists and stuff there, so they could literally hear everything that's being said. Yeah. So when it all proper kicked off on the bench between West Ham and Villa, and you could hear everything that was being said between John Terry and our sports psychologist, whoever it was, offering him out in the tunnel and stuff. Yeah. Oh God, how old are we? But no, it is weird, but there's nothing we can do about it. But at least there's something to watch on the telly that's not, I don't know.
Cheshire Housewives.
Yeah, exactly. You can still watch Housewives of Cheshire on ITV2. Yeah. No, but you know what I mean. It's like it's so much football on now. It's just like almost, I blink and I've missed 3 games. It's like I don't know what to look now.
Well, yeah, I'm finding that like, I've always known what's going on. Like, I don't know who's playing one day to the next now. I don't, because I'm just not keeping up with it as much. And, I don't know why, whether because we had that gap, and it's the first time in my life it hasn't been on continuously, really. And then I got used to not seeing it, and then I just haven't picked this season up. I mean, I did watch the game last night, and it's one of the first games I've watched fully for a long time. I don't know what's happened.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, I same as me. I was like, what? And so I literally just watched the highlights of the Arsenal Man City, game just now, and it's like, oh yeah.
But, for a little while, I got invited to one of the League One clubs games for a little while. Put me in the board seats. Oh, I loved it because watching football live when you haven't watched it for nearly a year. Yeah. Brilliant. Like, you're lucky you're seeing the games, I guess, but going there and just, even though no one's there, just seeing live football, wonderful. Yeah,
it's a privileged thing to be able to do, and but, it is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. But from a West Ham perspective, we're doing all right. So if it means there's no fans the rest of the season and we finish 8th, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Brilliant.
I'll take that, Joe. To be honest.
Brilliant.
Right. So anyway, back to West Ham. So 5 years, at West Ham. Why West Ham? Why was West Ham going to be the club?
It wasn't. I mean, obviously, I had my dad and advised me, and the rules were different then with academies than they are now. Like, you didn't have to sign, so he used to say to me, like, you ain't signing. And I was playing for Sheffield Wednesday, Charlton, Man United for a bit, Blackburn, Southend, West Ham. I was bouncing about, and he sort of said to me, like, when you get to a certain age, they're all going to come for you, and then you can choose. And it looked like for a long time I was going to sign at Charlton, and it kind of got to the point that I wanted to live at home.
Yeah.
And I was like in the England school teams, and the other England goalie was at Tottenham. His name was Nicky Ayres, I think. And Tottenham didn't want me. And it was the only other team I could probably live at home. My dad didn't want me to sign at the same club as him, really. And I did. And he wouldn't give me a lift. So we lived in Loughton, which was 8 miles from Chadwell Heath. But to get from Loughton to Chadwell Heath, it's 2 trains for 2 buses. So
that's a trek. That is a proper trek. That's I used to get to Stratford, back to Stratford, then get into Chadwell Heath, and
then back out. So and then he'd on the way home, he'd drive out the training ground and wave at me, and I'm going to the same place. Or my mum would be driving back the other way, getting me, and he'd go, "No, you've got to make your own way in life." And which I make him right actually now, but it was the club for me. He was there. I'm not just saying it to my dad. His coaching was one of the best I'd experienced, and I've been round to clubs, and that was important to me. I liked being around it, and I remember I was in the showers in the first team change room when I was about 15 with Jimmy Hampson, who was like the recruitment guy, and my dad, and they was kind of having half an argument about me because I was playing at Charlton, and he was going, "Was he good enough?" And my dad went, "Yeah." But well, why in here? Do your job, do your every job. And I thought, I want to come here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I like this atmosphere. And that club at the time, the atmosphere around it was different class.
Yeah.
The old Chadwell Heath training ground, it was so small and you was all together.
Yeah.
And you could be a 12-year-old kid coming in the summer and you'd be sitting next to a like Joe Cole or Michael Carrick and training with people and talking, and nothing was separate.
No.
And it was great. It was just a great place to be. It was do you know what though? It was a hard club as well. The banter, the determination of that, because we were winning as youth teams. It weren't just one age group. We had 4 or 5 years in a row where there was players in every team coming through. Let alone the youth cup winning lot, but like even 2 leagues below, Billy Mehmet, James Allen, all players that were good. Didn't make it for different off the field reasons, but there was players and players coming through, competitive from hard backgrounds, and it was an hard club to be at, but it made you a man.
Yeah, no, I get that. And obviously, as you said, what your dad said, like he didn't no free handouts, and to be fair, that's as you said, that's put you in good stead, really. And I mean, to be honest, you look at also around that time, you had just before that, you had obviously Frank, you had the Lampards, and so obviously he probably saw the reaction that Frank got as well. Frank Junior got, and so it made perfect sense. But that's a trek, because I used to live in Loughton. I lived in Loughton most of my life, and to Chadwell Heath, that's no easy.
I'm getting out of bed at 6:30 and getting on buses and trains, and he's rolling out at 9. Do you know what I mean? We've both got to be there at the same time. We're going to the same place, and it's 8 miles. So, I've got a later birthday, so I had to do that for a year before I could drive, and it was like whole of the first season I was just sitting on a train.
But it made you determined, didn't it? It made you determined and made you want to do it. So
it made me the same as everyone else.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, totally. And I mean, as you said, I've read stuff you've done before where you've said, when using, when you your dad never pushed you into football or whatever. It's football sort of, you got into it, and your dad went, I'll help you if you need your help. And I mean, as a young lad going through, was there? I mean, we've interviewed people like Anton as well, and we spoke about Anton and his brother. Was there always the handle because of your dad?
Of course there is. People are always going to look at that, and why wouldn't they? But I think once you play for a bit and they know you, then that goes away if you're good enough. I mean, if you look at anyone that's made it and they've got a parent or whatever, they can get you in the door, but they ain't going to get you on that first team pitch if you ain't good enough. Do you know what I mean? Or so far down the line, you get chops no matter who you are. Even if Dan Ferguson, from Man United, still got let go by United in the end. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you ain't good enough, you ain't good enough. And if you are, you are. And I think it does have that effect because you are someone's son. Yeah. For a bit, but then as they get to know you, and that stigma goes in, you just Joe, aren't you? Or whoever in the change room, just another player. So
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. You're totally right. I mean, it's funny the other day. I said because we obviously, we had Stephen on the other day, and as you said before we started, he lives about a mile from you. Crazy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And I said, "Oh yeah, I got young Joe." I still called you fucking young Joe. Not being funny. You're probably about 4 years younger than me, and that's it. But it's funny, isn't it? It's funny.
I'm 37. I'm 37.
Yeah, 2 years younger than me, and so so it's funny, isn't it? I still called you young Joe. It's ridiculous, but I apologize. But yeah, no, it's and obviously 5 years. Then unfortunately you got injured, training injury and shoulder, and it just never was the same, was it?
No, I mean I got the injury the first time in the first year, and the third year, my first full year, and like when I left school, and I kept dislocating it, and I had a reconstruction, and I was out for 12 months. I had my arm. I had to wear a bodysuit like Mrs. Doubtfire. Do you know the film? Yeah. I had the bodysuit that I had to wear 24 hours a day for 6 months that pinned my arm to my body. And I'm cut all the way around my shoulder. Yeah. And when they took that bodysuit off, I couldn't actually move my arm. It wouldn't move because it hadn't moved for 6 months. It just seized up. Took another 6 months for them to get it back. And then I had to start playing again. And I kind of knew from the start of it, if this happens again, you're done. Yeah. Because you can't keep missing a year and a half. You can't keep having the trauma to your body. They were talking about maybe getting paralyzed, and and I was fine for a few years, and it was a simple thing in training. The ball come through, I dived on it. I should have held it. It was an easy one, and I didn't. It just popped up, and as it popped up, I jumped up, put my hand on the ball. The foe came through. It didn't even kick it. It come through, and my shoulder went pop, and I thought, I'm done.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm done, and I was.
Fucking Jermaine.
It wasn't even him. He didn't kick it. He was just running through. I mean, he was dribbling. I dived at his feet, and I should have just held it. It was an easy hold, but it just spilt. And as you do, you just put your hand on it, and it went bang. And I thought, that's me.
That's it. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it's just I thought it's those things, isn't it? It happens too much. It happens too often at West Ham. Those things. It seems we have fucking Dean Ashton getting injured in England and stuff like that. And so it's a terrible. And from you, and obviously, I mean, I'm not going to go too far. I was in a couple of weeks later. Obviously, your dad passed, unfortunately.
Yeah, 2 weeks later.
Yeah, it's horrible. And obviously, come to Christmas. It's never nice. But anyway, and then that must have. It must have just because from say 16 onwards, that was going to be your career, and at 21, you're like, that's it, you're done. Yeah,
I think for me, it was completely that. It wasn't just from 16; it's what I'd wanted to do from forever. Like my focus was that forever. It weren't like I was at school learning to be a scientist or whatever. I probably should have been, but I couldn't wait to get out and play football. It's what I wanted to do, and I lost that. And then I lost my dad, and it's like, well, football don't matter as much as I lost my dad. But for me, like, it's strange when you play football, everything's done for you, and you've got a level of discipline that you've got to adhere to because you want to be the best. Yeah. And at home, my dad was my disciplinarian, so I kind of lost everything that controlled my life into this, professional, eat right. I never drank alcohol. I never went out. I wanted to play football. I weren't interested in the rest of it, and I went from having all of that structure to none. And my life was in turmoil, really, and it was hard. Yeah,
it's horrible. Yeah, and then obviously I read. Obviously, then you went into you're not being my size. You're not being my size. 20 odd stone.
I went to so I kind of had the attitude, if you ain't paying me, I ain't exercising. I didn't train for it must have been nearly 10 years. And I went to 22 stone, and I remember thinking, I've got to sort this out.
Yeah.
And I went to the Repton Park gym in Chigwell. I got on a treadmill and I couldn't run for 5 minutes. And I slowly built it up. And I lost 5-6 stone, and I ran a marathon, and I've carried on training. I train every day now. My biggest issue is food, not training. I'll train at least an hour a day now. I can run as many miles as somebody wants. I'm as fit as I've ever been, but food is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think
even now in lockdown, so to speak. It's my lockdown body's not what I planned it to be. But it's one of those things. I can totally see that. It could be a disciplinary, obviously your dad, and then that's it.
I just think, and I've had some form of mental health depression at the time without knowing it. And I've spoken about it a number of times. Like I became a drug addict, basically an alcoholic drug addict, and I have no shame in that, because that's something that I did. And do I regret it? Yeah, I wish I never done it, but I did. And I met my wife and I sorted myself out, but it was how I medicated myself, really. It's a shame. Looking back of it, I just give myself 8 years, 10 years of just trauma. Do you know what I mean? Without sorting something out, because it was like every day my daddy just died and I hadn't dealt with it. Or my football, I didn't deal with anything. It just been put behind me, and I just got on. And from the outside, I had a nice life. I had a good career and career then, and nice houses, and I had a wife and kids, but actually inside I was dying, and it took a long time to sort that out.
But it would do. I mean, it just said it's almost like you've got these two massive weights on the back of your shoulder, on your shoulders, and you're just walking. Literally, although you're walking and what you're seeing in front is great, you've still got this sort of baggage behind you, haven't you? No, I can totally understand. I can totally appreciate that. It's we've just had Christmas. This is going to go out just after Christmas.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And you turn it around, didn't it? She said, you said your wife, you started you were into sports management, and you went into the health stuff as well. And life's great. Life's great now. So
life is great.
Yeah. And you still having a kick about now. You're still getting.
Yeah, I mean, I played in the West Ham Legends team last year against Coventry. We did an FA Cup, Youth Cup replay. I don't know if was you there at the training at 2-2. Really great to see everyone. And I was meant to play in Harry Redknapp and Sam Allardyce were doing a game last week at Chelmsford. I was meant to play in that. I play with my friends around here, and I play in different vets games, and I still like playing football. I didn't play for a long time because of my head, but I play again now. And football's a great outlet, and it's good exercise, and I love it. But I still play in goal. I loved playing in goal. It was just, I loved it, smashing people and that aggression and grabbing hold of it and screaming. I'm all about that. And I play now and I think, what am I doing? I'm levering some 60-year-old man against a ball on a 5-a-side pit or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm smashing him on a corner, and I'm thinking, I kind of enjoy it, but I shouldn't.
No, I mean you do. I mean it's your outlet, and as obviously your boys is at Huddersfield, and your boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just leaving actually. He's just looking at clubs at the moment. He doesn't play in goal. He's completely different to the rest of us. He's quite small and quick. He's a winger. So the rest of us are 6'3" and slow. So good fit. My wife's 5'2". She must be quick. I don't know. I've never seen her run, but she must be. So he's playing, and do you know what? I get more joy out of that.
Yeah.
I say to people all the time, if whatever's happened to me, but he ends up doing what he wants, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing to be able to see and achieve. But what you sort of see from where he is now, from because I was playing still at his age, the difference in how clubs are run and the things that are said and not done anymore. There's no jobs, and he's probably looked after better than I was when I was part of the first team squad, in my last year. And there's none of that stick that people think, well, they should bullying, they call it now, but it wasn't. It was it was part of it, and it was important, because it's not football, if you get there, is a great career, but it's not an easy career. Look at it from the outside, but you've got to be properly determined and top of your game to get there, and hard.
Yeah, totally. And as you said, he said, how it sort of was set up at West Ham when you was there. Obviously, Chadwell Heath, literally everyone trains in the same building, and get showered together, and
Yeah.
there was some big old personalities. You were there as a youngish lad,
we had some great, Rio bouncing about, and even like Izzy Rickpen, like that, because you was full of players that were winning. Whether not so much the first team, but the younger lads. You had like top players, like players that ended up playing in World Cups and stuff, all sitting in Chadwell Leaf at the time had 3 changing rooms and 4 pitches and 1 canteen, and the 2 women that used to work there, and it was such a close knit. Like Charlie, who did the car park, and Jimmy Frith, who did the kit, and Pete Williams, and all these people that made that club just different class.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Really, we were like the dog and duck in a way, compared to we used to go other places, but it was just brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that's what bred that sort of mentality. And as you said, the kids were playing well, but and we were, West Ham as a first team were sort of getting into a little bit of a stride, and had a load of experienced pros coming, like guys who played lots of games for other clubs that come into the squad, and for a youngster yourself, it must have been like seeing, as you said, rubbing shoulders. I mean, you didn't know at the time what career Rio was going to have, or Carrick or Joe, but some of these other guys, it must have been for you. It's like, I can see you already determined. You go, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. I want to be playing with these guys and just training with them and learning from them. And obviously from a goalkeeper's perspective, you guys are a special bunch. You've got your union type thing, and everyone you train on your own. Not so much now. I've noticed that more goalkeepers are training more with the first team because of sweep keepers and stuff like that, and stuff like that. But, and you didn't have a bad goalkeeper coach, did you? At the time?
No, the whole group there though, like, because you're right, there was like probably there must have been 8 of us goalkeepers at the time there, and we trained just outside the indoor bit part against you used to call it the cat's ball. Don't know if you remember, it used to made out of wood, and so the ball come back. Yeah. And then like for the last half hour, you go over to the team, but it was like Shaka, Craig, Stephen, me. You had like Alex O'Reilly was still there, Bernard Lamar come in. Yeah. All these people that were great coaches, and it was such like fun to go to work every day. And we would have stupid competitions, like whoever let the most goals in had to run around the pitch naked and dive in the puddle and all this stuff that sounds like, or sing a song or whatever, or do a stupid dance. But that made it like it was just fun every day. We worked hard, but it was fun. And then you'd go over and do shooting or games with the teams. And what was lucky as goalkeepers, you could be a 15-year-old goalie. If you're the only goalie in that day, you're going to train the first team because they need a goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. And you're around these people, and then you get to do penalties with Frank after when you're young, and you get to see what they do and how they play and the determination they've got, and all that stuff. And goalkeepers are lucky in that way.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that. But you're totally right. Yeah, I can imagine. As you said, Harry, come over here and that's it. We need a goalie today. Yeah. Awesome, absolutely awesome. It's funny. We had people. Who did we interview? We interviewed Bertie a while ago.
Bertie's a good lad.
And Bertie's first time that Harry brought him into the team, the first team training session, was when Hartson kicked off Berkovic's head.
Yeah, I was there that day. It was a different day. And the thing was, it was a fan, weren't it? They had one fan in the car park. He won a prize, and he filmed it, didn't they? John, I got to be honest, I spoke to John the first time in a long time last week. I really liked John Hartson.
Oh, he's lovely bloke. Fantastic guy.
Fantastic around the club. And what you're talking about was what it was like. You'd be in the gym doing weights, and then Parlo would come in and just like say, sit there and tell you about how he played with Madonna and all these players at Napoli and how he had to do it. You wouldn't get that. Because they had to walk past you. You was all in the same building. It was like, don't get me this, sit down, listen to this, and Trevor and all these players, and then you've got players that you're playing with pushing on, and Glenn's getting in the team, and Stuart Pearce was injured the same time as me with his leg, and it'd be me and him training together. I spent 6 months with him every day. Wow. He probably won't remember that, but I remember every detail about that.
Of course,
everything he told me, and the way he trained at 38 and rehabbed, and it was a great place to be. You don't realise it at the time, though. You don't.
No, totally. As I said, I think Bertie was Paolo's boot boy. Who was your boot? Who were you the boot boy to?
I had 5. You had to do 5 when I started. So I had Shaka, my dad, which was just
went in with the boot.
Oh no, it had to be clean. And then there was a Friday where he trained at 5 o'clock at night doing the kids, and I'm obviously finished, and they've got a game Saturday. So I'm not in to clean the boots on the Saturday. We've got a game, and his boots are dirty because he's worn them Friday night. He's pulled me into the first team change room at Upton Park. I've played and gone ballistic. Right. And I'm thinking and that's what my dad was like. It was like that. And then I had Jimmy Bullard, Grant McCann, Craig Everton. were my 5. It was 5, and
did you get a good Christmas bonus?
Do you know what? No one gave me anything because do you know what happened when I got my shoulder? I didn't do it. I couldn't clean boots. So the other academy goal at the time was Billy McMahon. He had to do 10 players for a year. Shaka gave me a pair of Puma Kings. My dad never gave me anything, and every time I see Jimmy, I say, "Jimmy, any danger?" Of like my Christmas, yeah.
Pint at the pub.
But it was it was a good experience.
Yeah, I think Paolo's was Bertie's was Paolo was one of his boot, and and at Christmas he went, "Come here, Bertie, come here," and it like walked to his car, and Bertie's like, "Here we go," and literally opened the boot and gave him these pair of boots which has no laces in, and were 2 sizes too small for Bertie. He just
Paolo at the time used to wear these boots that I think only he wore. There was an Italian brand that no one had ever heard of, and they were funny colours, and I bet they was probably a pair of them. I can't remember what they was called. He was great. The whole place was great, and but you'd be in the change room and someone would get 300 quid off. Rio was always a good one to have, like the ones that had come through and like knew what it felt like, and they'd get that, and then you've got like a pair of boots, and you're thinking, oh, I can't buy the missus a Christmas present because you're on we on 60 quid a week back then, and the year before it was 38. We got a double increase the year we come in, so like all the lads of the year above us were all like, you lot taking the piss, like we was on 38 quid last year.
It's crazy, isn't it, nowadays? Nowadays where like a player is like looked at, it's like we've had, they get on loan, they have loan managers who look after them, so to speak, and they, as you said, they're probably more looked after than when you got into the first team squad. Crazy, isn't it? Right, anyway, we mentioned a few players, and obviously 5 years at the club, training and playing as well with some players. And what we try and do is every time we get on the channel, we try and do an 11. So an 11 from the players' perspective of people you've trained with, played with, that type of thing during your time at the club. And obviously, it's nothing, it's no dig on anyone. It's just a bit of fun. And
do you want me to dig at people I don't like?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's get the views in, Joe. Come on, Christmas.
All right, I'll give you some.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. So let's start off in goal.
Shaka Reslop. He was amazing to be around every day. He was fun, encouraging. He was intelligent. He used to work for NASA.
Yes.
He was just a great guy. He had massive feet, big hands, big everything he had. And it was just a joy to play with. But also, I thought he was top class. And I heard Stephen talking about Craig, actually. And Craig had great hands. And Stephen was there. And, I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen a better young goalie than Stephen Bywater, ever. Ever. He was, when he came in, he was 18 months older than me. And I thought, fuck, I've got no fucking chance here. But he was amazing. But Shaka, for me, obviously, the last year I was there, David James came in. I couldn't stand him. So he changed everything at that club for me with goalkeepers. He stopped the young lads. We all stopped training together because of him.
Really interesting.
Yeah, he stopped us all training together. He wouldn't let no one train with him. I didn't get to know him that well because I got injured that year in the end, but I didn't like him at all. But he was, I've got to be honest, in training, if I take his personality away from him, I've never seen anything like it.
Sure. Yeah.
He was quite a lazy trainer. And I used to think if he trained as hard as the other goalies did, he would be the best in the world, potentially. Because his athleticism was like... But so I've gone with Shaka because I didn't like James as a person.
and Shaka, I mean, we've had Shaka on. We've had a good run with goalkeepers. It's all about goalkeepers. We've had you, Stephen, Shaka, Jimmy. We've had who else? We had Tom McAllister from the 80s.
Yeah.
We've got Parksy lined up soon. Probably get Bobby Ferguson from the 70s on.
Oh, that'd be good.
It's something about goalkeepers. It's just because maybe you've got more time. No.
Maybe we're not so self-obsessed. You should get Craig Forrest on because he's doing the telling kind of now.
Yeah, we'll get Craig on as well.
You've had Ian Fiora as well, haven't you?
Yeah, sorry, Ian. Oh, and he was. I loved Ian. He was a lovely guy. He's a top.
He used to give me a lift home sometimes.
Did he? Well, the thing about Shaka, I remember, and that's why I used to love Shaka, was because I used to work in the Safeways in Loughton.
Oh yeah.
And to be fair, Shaka every Friday would do his shop, his big shop.
Really?
He'd do the big shop, and you'd see him, like, because obviously you're so tall.
Yeah.
Head would be almost over the over the shelves, and
Yeah.
he'd come and lovely guy, and we had a giggle about that. Yeah, but no, he's top guy.
Yeah,
Shaq.
everything about him. His Mrs. Desher was superb, and he had a Maserati. I remember he had the first Maserati I'd seen. It was a blue one. He had an unplate Shaka, and I thought, oh, I want to be you.
Such a lovely bloke. Right. Okay, we'll put Shaka in. Right. What do you want to play? 4 at the back? You play 4?
Yeah, I thought we had to do 4-4-2. Don't we? I've had a look on your.
If you want.
I've done it now.
All right, fine.
I've got it here.
Oh, good man. Go on, go left back. Go on, left back.
Stuart, yes.
Yeah.
I weren't around too much with Dix, and he was injured. And then Nigel Winterburn was there as well. But for me, just as a cat, just as everything as a person to be around, and I was with him a lot. He was just different class.
Different class.
I mean, I played in a nothing game once in Cornwall for him in a off season. 7 hours it took me to get there. It was the day Harry got sacked. We went to play for his mate against his mate's team as a favour, and he absolutely hammered me because I kept throwing the ball behind him and not in front of him. Hammered me. And I just thought, what a man.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job in the backroom staff now,
because he cares. He cares. Yeah. He's a football man. He cares. You know what I mean? He likes football. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. All right, we'll put Psycho in. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's go right back then.
Glenn Johnson, one of my best friends. Lived at my mum and dad's house. Was with me when my dad died. He's been a lifelong friend of mine. Different class. I played with him for a number of years coming through, and he had everything. Quick, strong. He was a centre back. To be fair, his first game at right back was the first time he ever played West Ham's first team. He never played right back.
Wow.
So Glenn Roder put him in at right back because he wasn't Glenn's 6 foot, and it was like resuming an iron back being tall enough. But he was always a centre back. He was strong, fit, could run, athlete, had everything. For me, he was brilliant, and he had an unbelievable career.
Yeah, and he was one of those ones where he was like, because he didn't really play loads of games for us, really.
18.
Yeah, it's very good. Well done, Joe. You've done your, I like that. But as soon as he came in, within like the first game, you're thinking he's brilliant. How long is he going before he's off? He's just like,
because I think he only got a record of something like the 18 games. They still went down, but they lost. Or only conceded in 6 of them. He's got one of the best records ratios or something for West Ham on clean sheets or something. He's got. He was just superb. He was a year younger than us, but he always played in our team.
Yeah,
and he was by far the best. But I remember in a youth cup game against Southend, Tony put him up front in midfield because he scored 5 goals. And we won 5-2. He was just unbelievable.
Of course, Tony Carr. We've had Tony on as well. God, yeah. His 11 was like. His 11 was basically England 2010 starting lineup. It was mental. Because obviously, it was everyone that's
Terry.
He's the only one that John Terry's ever appeared in. Funny that, really. Right, okay, let's go to who's your first centre half then?
He's got Rio Ferdinand is. I guess he's in everyone's from this era.
Yeah,
he was, well, as we've seen for his career, different level, a Rolls Royce of a player, and also. Forget how he played around the place. He kept the place alight. Yeah. Around the changing room, he was always happy, and he was great to be around for me. But to play with him, you just thought, what a player. Yeah,
from a goalkeeper's perspective as well, it must be great having a ball like someone who can pass as a centre back.
Yeah, and it was the way I always liked him. Like he'd take the ball off someone without tackling them. Like you think. He was always there. Like if you had to be there, he'd be there 2 seconds before you're even seeing it.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was so easy for him, and he was so mobile, and he'd get out of problems, and he could come out with the ball, and you think, oh, what's he doing? But then it was brilliant.
He knew what he was doing,
he knew what he was doing.
Like step ahead, like chess. Yeah, Mr. Ferdinand, Mr. Rio, he's in Rolls Royce. Yes, because that's right. Because Ian Foy, because he used to roll with Rio around Wolf Abbey. Yeah. He's big American, like muscle, like SUV playing hip hop. I could just imagine that down Waltham Abbey, down that pedestrian area.
I remember where he lived. He lived just behind the Swallow, in the new houses. Well, they're not new now. He lived in area.
Oh, a bit of money for Ian. Oh, that would cost.
I know.
And you're close to the Swallow where you'd all have a drink up before the game anyway. So, all right. Anyway, what was the other one? What was that pub down the road? There's another pub, wasn't there? There was the Green Man in Waltham Abbey.
Rising Sun.
Rising Sun, that was it.
On the way. And there was another one down in High Beach.
Yeah. Royal Oak.
Royal Oak.
Yeah, Royal Oak. That was it. That was it. That was where we used to. Right, okay. We'll put Rio in. Who's he going to partner then, Joe?
Well, do you know what? I've crossed out 3 people. I went Izzy Rickpen, crossed him out. Neil Ruddock, crossed him out. And do you know what? I went with Ian Pearce.
Yeah. Do you know what? That is exactly my pairing, and my 11.
With Ian, he had terrible injuries. He was injured for 2 bad injuries, but when he was fit, I think the 2 years before he got injured, he was Player of the Year 2 years in a row. And my dad was in it, so I was in the crowd a lot when he was playing, and I just thought he was brilliant. And then to be around him, he was quiet. He was, he had some bad injuries. He got on with it every day. He was working hard, and when he come back, I just really, as a goalie, he was my type of defender. Big, he's going to edit. He was good to play behind. The times I played behind him, he was good.
And if worst comes to worst, we used to play him up front. So it was always.
He was a good footballer. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what you say. Both of them, Rio and him, he could play anywhere. You can stick Rio Ferdinand anywhere and he can play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think his first game was like he came at right back or right wing or something like that.
Yeah. Well, he was a midfielder for a long time. When he got moved back when he got to 18, he can play Rio. Crazy. And Pierce was just great to be around.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. I love Ian Pearce. So I like a defender who can play up front, like Chris Sutton used to do it. Didn't he? Up front, and back. And like on Football Manager, you would just like get him. It's like see like.
I used to love that game. Yeah.
I don't know how I passed my uni degree. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know how I did anything.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's go into midfield then. Let's go left wing.
Okay, I had to fit him in really, and it's Joe Cole.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I said a lot of people have got him there and to come inside. I had him somewhere else and I crossed him out. And actually, when you look at those teams during my era, we never really had a great left-sided play. It was always someone fitted in. Keller played there a bit, and Trevor sometimes going there, but there was no one. The other positions you go right. These are the players, and I had to Google who was playing left wing for West Ham during their periods, and we rotated there really. And for me, Joe was a special player with the ball, and he pushed on, and he was great. When I bump into him now, he says that all these players are exactly the same. When we see each other, no one's different.
No, it's funny, isn't it? And it's like we've had people like, we've had Neil on, we've had Razor on. That was interesting. I was getting my dishwasher done at the time.
I saw it earlier. I watched it.
It was the best thing, the worst thing I've ever done in my life is to keep the camera rolling. But him and we've had Sinks on, we've had Monks, Bish, and they're all just exactly the same as they were. So it's but they're all lovely. And as I said, Joe's just and he's got his podcast with Tom Davis is quite good. I quite like that.
Yeah, he's doing well with that. But even with Joe, he's so humble. A little while ago I was in a restaurant. I didn't see him. Yeah, I didn't see him, and he saw me, and he got up and tapped me on the shoulder and come and spoke to me. He's Joe Cole. I'm not saying, but he ain't got to do that. I ain't seen him. I haven't said hello, and we've thinking he's made his effort and come over. And my wife said, "Why didn't you say hello?" I said, "I didn't see him, Nick." And then we sat down and had dinner together. He's that type of person, and he played in the game at Coventry the other week. The other last year, and he's just one of the lads. And what a player he was when we was especially at 15, 16. It was we might as well give up. If if this is the level,
that was the true Joe Cole. That was, and he said it himself. He's like a street footballer, and that's what he was, And that at that time, and then going into West Ham playing the first team, that was my memories of Joe Cole. Yeah, he went to Chelsea and he became a great player. He fitted into a side but he was just the
skills were unbelievable.
Oh. That Coventry game, those little.
I know. In them big games as well, he spins it and then does the clip. That he was doing that every day. You just stand there and go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. I
remember
that Coventry game because the announcer at the time was a guy called Jeremy, and Jeremy said because obviously that was mental that Coventry game where literally there was people
I was there.
Crazy.
Yeah, behind the bench.
He said, "Don't go on the pitch." He went, "Don't go on the pitch. The winners, whoever they may be, will be presented with the trophy at the end of the game." And I think we were 8-0 up in aggregate. And apparently afterwards, Gordon Strachan had him up by the throat in the tunnel saying, "I've got boys in there crying because of what you just said over the tunnel." He's like, "You're 8-0 down."
The thing is, when you look at that Coventry team, they had good players. McSheffrey, Kirkland was in goal. They had 5 or 6 players made it. But that team, that youth team, and we were 1 year below, and I was sat on the bench in one of the games, and I was on the bench in the final, behind the bench in the squad, What a team.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about 11 players, like all of them play professional football. It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
All of them.
Yeah, very, very special time that was. Right, Joe in. Okay, right wing, right midfield.
Trevor Sinclair, it's
Tricky Trev.
Yeah, he's just a great lad. I thought he was sensational actually.
Yeah.
As a player at the club, good fun as well in the change room. But as a player, he was in England international, and he was, I think, probably our best at that point. Like at the age he was and the age everyone else was, probably our best player.
Yeah.
We had him at his prime, and as an all-round player, he's class. He improved at West Ham, I thought, as well when I was there. Like the last couple of years, I thought he's gone to another level here.
Yeah, well, you saw it was floundering. We've had him on the channel as well, and Trev's. I've become very, not we're not best mates, but we on DMs as well. He's a lovely bloke, and he openly said, I was at QPR. I really always to leave. Jerry France had left, some of my mates had left, and I was just like going through and then at West Ham, he said I actually turned up the first day at Chadwell Heath, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to get in the first team here.
Funny, isn't it?
And we resurrected his career, and he's top guy. And
who was playing right wing before? Was it Michael Hughes?
It probably would have been Hughesy, Hughesy. It would have been probably Hughesy before then. Probably. I can't remember, to be honest. It's funny that I'm really.
Lomi played a bit sometimes, didn't he?
Seasons. Yeah. I remember people in shirts, so it's like, oh yeah, that was the Decandid Dr. Martin shirt. Yeah, he scored. Yeah. No, I'm rubbish with that, but I'm pretty sure might be Michael Hughes, pretty sure. Because then before that would have been Matty Rush, probably. God, Matty Rush. God, I'm going to write that down. I should get him. It'd be good. That's what I do. Literally, I write.
That's what you got to do. If things trick your memory, don't they? You think I've got to get him.
I love it because you just talk about, and you go to, like the other day we had we had a discussion about something, and then we had like all these random players were coming out of the work, but like Abdoulaye Faye. This was like during our 2011, 2012 season. No, brilliant. Right, okay, we'll put Trev in. So we've got Joe, got Trev. First one, centre midfield. Then Joe.
Michael Carrick.
Quality man.
Michael Carrick, for me, the best player, better than Joe, for me. Overall, just his overall, he had everything. Run, pass, calm, nice bloke. Like he lives near me and Stephen, so we see him sometimes, and he's still got the same Mrs. Lisa, and just a nice guy. But his football ability, well, look at the career he's had and where he's at now. He was the best player. I'm going to say that football club has ever produced. Potentially, maybe not Bobby Moore. I weren't around him, but as I've seen, Michael was.
He was one of those players, and it's like there's certain players. Every generation has them, but when they leave, you never replace them properly. And every club he's gone to,
he made it look easy. Look when he was at Tottenham, they finished in the top 4. Left, they finished 8th. United ain't won the league since he stopped playing. He's one of them players that intercepts balls, passes it, and no one even notices. Plays forward every time he gets it. Scores, runs, just fantastic player. Even my dad, to be fair, my dad just said to me, he's the one.
Yeah.
He's the one.
One of those players, and unfortunately, again, it's a typical West Ham thing. I think he maybe turned up in terms of a career-wise, probably about a year or two. If it was a year or two the other side, he would have been an England regular for years and years and years and years and years. He didn't play as many games as he should have done, and it's a shame because, as you said, he was like Trevor Brooking-esque. He would just have time in the ball, and he wasn't necessarily quick. And to be fair, Mike he hung about when we went down as well.
Yeah, he stayed for the year, didn't he?
Which is amazing thing, which doesn't happen very often. Right, okay, Carrick's in. Who's he going to partner in that middle then?
Frank Lampard, it has to be Frank, and it's for a number of reasons with Frank. Because if really he's in for the career he had after, but when you play with Frank, the amount of I've never seen someone train and work on his weaknesses so much.
Sure.
I saw Stephen talking about his spikes, and he used to wear them spikes every Friday and do footwork. Another day of the week it'd be free kicks. He was out there every day, and when you played with him and it saw the way he connected with the ball, when you're in goal, he hit it harder than anyone else, or there was a bit more whip on it, or there was a bit more something in it. And he made himself the best. Work rate, and the thing is, it's easy to work on things you're good at, but it's hard to work on things you're not. And he worked on stuff he weren't good at. Yeah. And he ended up being the best player, probably in the Premier League history, getting into the box and scoring, late. Running, and you wouldn't have thought when he started, Frank weren't a great runner, but he ended up being fantastic at it. And he showed everything that you need to be world class or international player from being normal.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think actually maybe this not the stick, but the fact that obviously his dad was around and obviously his uncle, it made him push himself even more to be the best and to train. And I think that set him in the career he had. You know what I mean? I just think, yeah, I think it's one of those players where I think when you look back now, again, a lot of people obviously, because of the Chelsea thing and things like that, but he was a hell of a player, such a good player.
Yeah.
And was so important to us that season, those seasons. I mean, some of the games, so obviously we had Stephen on, and obviously Stephen's debut was that 5-4 when he had a row with Paolo on the pitch about who's going to take the penalty, and brilliant.
And even like penalties, I remember I used to go and go a lot I used to practice 10 penalties day before game. I'd never saved any. I couldn't get near him. You could not get near him. You couldn't guess him. He could go both ways.
Yeah,
with power. He was just great. But it was he got himself there, which is what I really admire.
Yeah. Rather than as you said, similar to how your dad be you. He didn't. I guarantee Sealey didn't give him an easy ride at all because he knew the West Ham boys, he knew the fans, and same with Harry. But and something about penalties as well. I mean, as a goalkeeper as well, why don't people just smack it now? Why do people try and be clever with penalties as a strike? It really frustrates me.
These stupid run-ups, I'm like, when they miss, I go, what are they? Just run up and kick the ball. Like, all this jumping, it's all right when it goes in, but when you miss, you look like a right idiot, don't you?
Like Fernandez, I know, Man United, Bruno Fernandez, what's going on with a little skip before he kicked? You know what I mean? It's like,
a few years ago, it was one step shoot, weren't it? That was rubbish as well. Sturridge used to just take 5 yards and smash it into the corner or wherever it's going to go. Score. Alan Shearer. Matt Letizia, just score your penalties.
Yeah. We had Julian and Psycho would do it as well.
Weren't he?
Yeah, it's something which just really grates with me. Really great, particularly today, because I think today we record it today I think it's like the 20 that Lampard when he missed the penalty to Jimmy Walker in the cup. That was there's some sort of semblance today. So that was why it was in my head. Maybe because it's day 23 and Jimmy's was the 20. His shirt was 23. But yeah, no, it just winds me up with goalkeepers. And obviously goalkeepers, you haven't got, you can't go in front now. You got to stay on the line. It's just like it's so like not a fair playing field.
No, it's not. It's
rant over. Anyway, but yeah, I think I said to Jim, I think they should give all goalkeepers clown shoes now because they're like a yard, aren't they? The clown shoes, and they should be a yard in front.
Jump forward, yeah. That's a good idea.
Right, okay, up front, first striker who we have in
Paolo Di Canio.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's enough said. The goal we scored against Wimbledon, we used to sit as scholars of schoolboys in the West Stand upper, at that end, on the wooden seats, and just everything about Paolo, his professionalism, his training, the way he worked, he had his own fitness coach. He was an odd man. Like, he was odd, and so he had some odd ways. And if things weren't right, he'd go mad. But as a young player around that club, he might give you a bollocking, but then he'd explain to you why or what was the reason and who taught him that. And, you're talking about someone that's played with Maradona and had to fight through that because he was a youth player when Maradona was playing at Napoli. To get into that system and the players he played with there. And you think, he was just great. Yeah. Great player. At the time, again, you probably, as a player, you don't realise it. When I was a young player, you're just thinking he's mental. But when you look back and how he played and the things he'd done, he was probably 10 years too early.
Yeah. And again, similar to what you told me about Trev, I think some of the Canio, to be honest, West Ham probably should never have got him, really, because obviously we only got him because he pushed over Paul Alcott, really. But and I've said it before. I think the reason why Paolo loves West Ham so much is we by playing for West Ham, he put himself into that sort of bracket of Zola and Bergkamp and Omri and and he wouldn't have done that if he stayed at Sheffield Wednesday.
No, right.
So he's a top guy, Paolo is. Right, okay, one more.
Okay, this is the best striker I've ever played with, finishing wise. Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah,
I had to put Jermaine in. He's the same age as me, and when we bought him from Charlton, we bought him and Leon Britton at the same time from Arsenal. And Jermaine come in, and I played against him, and I trained at England with him. But I didn't train with him every day or whatever. I've never seen anything like it.
Really?
He can't miss. I remember once I'm on the 6-yard line. We're playing in 8-a-side goals. He's come through 1-1 and chipped me, and I can't get it. Like he was just. I've still never seen anything like it in training. When I'm watching football, he's finishing and everything about him was just. I know he weren't there for that long, but even when he went along at Bournemouth at 17 years old and he broke Pele's, like that is him all over. That's like, he was so good. And you know, look at the career he's had, but still finishing, still going, and you know, just as a lad as well, full of banter, bubbly.
Yeah,
you know, he's small. He's like a bag of energy, Jermaine. And the same thing, I bumped into him at I think a DT 38 boxing thing at York Hall a few years ago. Yeah. And it's like I ain't seen him like my brother. I ain't seen him since in 10 years. But it's like I was with him yesterday.
Yeah, and that's the mark of a good relationship with someone, isn't it? It's like me and my mates, we don't see each other for a year, and then we bump into, we just carry on regardless. You know, the band stuff, and it means you had a good time with them.
Yeah, I think West Ham had that at that time. You know, because you was all one unit. It didn't matter if you was 15 and over there, or you know, Harley Canio. It just you were the same. You know, Mark Noble would be in and training. You know, I could have put Mark in, but he, you know, all that whole. There was like 6 years of players that were just phenomenal players, like coming in. And Jermaine, I think, was the best actually that I ever played with. And you know, we had other players like Leon Britton there, and you know, I still speak to Adam Newton. You know, he's a cab driver now in London. You should get him on. He's you know, Terrell Forbes and you know all these players that would play. Richie Garcia, who's an Australian international. You know, played for Hull in the end, and you know, it's just the players we had there. Sean Byrne, there wasn't enough room for the players we had. I did think of that.
Sean Byrne came up in conversation the other day when we were talking to people. It's funny, it is. But yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, there were so many, wasn't there? So many. It was a real conveyor belt of talent. And I think that's why West Ham fans sometimes get a bit frustrated, because we haven't really had that constant conveyor belt. I think, to be honest, now I've had people like Kev Keane on and some others, and you know, who are involved, and there is a good bunch coming through. But it wasn't that was a golden age, wasn't it? A golden age.
And I think now there's a slight disconnect with training grounds and people training. It does make it harder. You know, they can say what they like, but it does, because no one now goes. You know, Moyes can't go. I need a give me the best 18-year-old midfielder because I'm short, and he comes over. Do you know what I mean? Runs over the other side of the pitch, or the manager watches and all of that. And it is better when you're all in one place. It is for the young boys. That's
one thing he's done, is he has started to bring them together. I think he moved the ladies to the women's team to Chadwell Heath.
Yes,
so that's one thing he's brought in, and I think that will pay dividends, because we've had obviously the Carabao Cup and stuff. There was a lot of kids in those games and a lot of the pre-seasons.
Yeah, because I think Pellegrini separated it all, didn't he? You know, he wouldn't let them in at the same time, and that ain't for me. That I mean, I went there. With Tony Carr one day, and under the Pellegrini rules, they wouldn't let him in. And I said to security guard, "You take the piss. This is at Folds, like the new training ground." I said, "That's Tony Carr. Do you know how much money he's made this football club and what he's done for this football club?"
We worked it out. He's 11. It was ridiculous how much money he's not made West Ham, but how much money he's made football for the players he's brought in. And obviously, a lot of them, like JT, obviously hasn't moved for a transfer fee. But you know, with Rio, that's about 60 million straight away off the bat. You know,
you know, if you go all the way back, he was there 40 years in the end, Tony.
Yeah, first was I think his first bunch was Alan Kirbishley and Paul Brush. Mental,
just phenomenal, and for him not to be part of it now, I see him quite often, Tony. And for me, it's a bad taste to me that's football. That is football, and it has to move. But for me, he should have been there forever as an ambassador running it, because he was the best I've ever seen at it. And when you're a young player, actually, you were a bit scared of him, and no one liked him. But when you get older and you know him as a man, you know what he was doing, because actually, it ain't about being everyone's mate. No. Do you know what I mean? It's about him producing and getting you to where you need to get to, and everyone respects him. And I love Tony now when I see him. Every time I see him, I see him at least twice a year. I sit with him for a couple of hours, and his knowledge is just...
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. Incredible, man. Yeah. And that's it, Joe. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Sealey. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been, an hour almost has flown by. So I really appreciate your time. And obviously, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Obviously, thank you to everyone who's been watching. And also, Joe's got a great podcast, him and his wife. It's a good fun. I've been listening.
Have you listened to it?
I do. I I don't. I'll be honest, not all the time, but I do listen to it. There's a lot of podcasts. We have quite a few people on who have podcasts, so it's like I keep listening. So we've had guys like Jack, mate, so Jack Dean and Happy Hour podcast, and stuff. So I listen to all the podcasts. So I do listen to it. I've shown my wife it because she likes a bit.
I had Neil Mellor on the other week. You could have him. He played for West Ham.
Neil's coming on.
I'm seeing him next week. I'll tell you.
Yeah, he's a top man. He's a top man. Lovely guy. No, we're doing it early January. He's a bit
brilliant
busy with everything else. But anyway, until next time, for myself and for Joe, take care, everyone. Stay safe. It's been out after Christmas. But anyway, happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Come, you Irons. See you later. Take care, everyone.